Raider Nation, if you always find yourself looking for videos during the offseason, I got you covered. You want draft videos? Go ahead, subscribe. You want free agency videos like this one? Go ahead and subscribe. There will not be another Raiders channel on YouTube that pumps out content like we do. There's not going to be another channel out there that does live videos every single week. So please, hit the big red button. Let's get to 100,000 subscribers by the start of the season. Raider Nation, what's going on? And today's show is going to be around some free agent targets. What I tried to do is this. I ranked from 10 all the way down to 1. Imagine if Mike Mayock and John Gruden had a big board of players that they should target in free agency. That's what I did. And I based the rankings on how talented the players were and how much of a need it would be for our team. Before I get into all of that, let's look at the Raiders' 2021 NFL free agency landscape. It starts March 17th, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. The legal tampering period begins 48 hours before free agency. What does that mean? Technically, that means that teams can go out and start talking to players about potentially signing. The current NFL salary cap for this year, $176 million. As it stands right now that I am making this video according to Over the Cap, the Raiders are minus $17.98 million in the hole, which is 26th most in the National Football League. If you're like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of money, it's okay. Don't panic. The Raiders can move on from a lot of players. And you know what? I actually have already made a video around cap cuts. You guys should go check it out. So one of the things that I want to be able to show you all is I have an awesome Raiders show here, but we also do a lot of awesome shows over at Chat Sports as well. We got 230,000 subscribers on that channel. And if you're wondering who are some more free agents that the Raiders go out and get, here's a video. It's on our Chat Sports channel. So go subscribe down below, youtube.com/chatsportstv. This video's got over 60,000 views on it right now. But Tom Downey and I, we break down the top 2021 NFL free agents. So please, don't only subscribe to my channel, go subscribe to Chat Sports as well. We would really appreciate it. And you're watching this probably live. If you want more live shows, we do 2 live shows there every week. Monday and Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific. I'll put the Chat Sports link in the live chat. It's also going to be in the description. But come on, I want you guys to join me on our main channel. I would really, really appreciate it. So, y'all, we're doing this show around the top 10 players that the Raiders should go out and target in 2021 free agency. And again, I ranked them from need and talent all the way down to number 1. So find out who's going to be number 1. At number 10, William Jackson, cornerback from the Cincinnati Bengals. He is the top young corner in 2021 NFL free agency. The reason why he's number 10 is because I don't really feel it's as big of a need as some of these other glaring issues on defense. But if the Raiders want to go out and get a true number 1 cornerback, because I'm sorry, Trayvon Mullen to me, after this year, I don't know if he can be a true number 1 corner. Damon Arnett does not impress me whatsoever, and the Raiders, they can win now. So if you had Trayvon Mullen, William Jackson, and then you figured out what you're going to do with Damon Arnett, that would be the reason why you go out and do this. But at the end of the day, they still need to be able to add some depth because, God, I hope you don't bring back Nevin Lawson. They didn't trust Amik Robertson, so go get yourself a stud cornerback like William Jackson. At number 9 on my Raiders free agent targets list, it's Dalvin Tomlinson. And Tomlinson is an above-average run defender. He needs to definitely improve in his pass game skills. However, y'all like Jonathan Hankins, who's going to be a free agent, and he made $4 million this year. I anticipate the Raiders maybe bringing him back for cheaper. But if you want a Jonathan Hankins on steroids type of guy, go get yourself Tomlinson. And a lot of people are always passing up his name because you're going to hear Shelby Harris or you're going to hear Leonard Williams. Those are the probably 2 bigger names. But in terms of bang for your buck, Dalvin Tomlinson might be the best bang for your buck, and he's number 9 here on my list. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's video. What does that mean? It means when you come across this video on YouTube, the very first comment that you're going to see is, who should the Raiders target in 2021 free agency? Who should be the number 1 guy that they go out and get? So when you're getting hit with that YouTube ad break, scroll on down and let me know. Top 8, Yannick Ngakoue. And when you're talking about edge rushers, I think he is the best 4-3 defensive end in 2021 NFL free agency. It was between him and Carl Lawson, but if money, let's just say, isn't that much of a factor, I'm going to take Yannick Ngakoue, who he's above average against the rush, he's above average against the pass, and has never had a season under 8 sacks. Yes, that is in 5 years. I get this past year was a little bit of a roller coaster ride because if you remember, It started off with Jacksonville. Jacksonville did not go very well. So then he wanted to go to Minnesota, or he got sent to Minnesota. Then he went from Minnesota to Baltimore. I actually do believe that the Baltimore Ravens are going to figure out a way to end up bringing back Yannick Ngakoue. But I also know this. Gus Bradley liked Yannick enough to end up drafting him. So it could be an interesting player to go out and get, especially because Yannick was really good with Jacksonville. And I know he can be really good with this Raiders defense as well. Let's go to the first offensive player on this list, Taylor Moton. He's the best offensive tackle in free agency under 30 years old. I actually have Trent Williams ranked higher. However, I want somebody who's younger, and that's exactly what Moton is. 3 straight years playing over 1,000 snaps, and if you're looking for a Trent Brown replacement, look no further than Taylor Moton. 16 games this past year. He allowed 3 sacks, and you can find a player where he can play right or left tackle, in my opinion. I like Trent Brown. He's a good player. However, there's reports of him being 400 pounds, and if you can save $14 million and take that $14 million, and if you still want a top tackle, invest it into Moton, because that's the type of money that I believe that he's going to warrant. So go out, get a player drafted in the second round from Carolina back in 2017, pay him the money, move on from Trent Brown, wipe your hands clean, and your problem is solved. Now, another problem that I've been facing here at the Raiders Report is off-season, I still want to be able to interact with you guys. So don't go away. I want you to all hang out with me. Hopefully you all have my back. So if you could, hit me up on Instagram. I'm at MitchellRens365. And if there's other players you want me to look at, slide in my DMs. That's where I'm always at. Marcus Maye at number 6. This is where it gets really interesting to me. This is where it got really tough. You could make the argument that he is the most versatile free agent safety on the market right now. When you look at the past 2 seasons, Maye with the New York Jets, he's played at least 400 snaps at free safety, at least 200 snaps at strong safety, and 125 snaps in the slot. Maye, I was a little bit worried when Jamal Adams left. I was like, okay, he's going to take a step back. He basically gave me a big old F you, and he got better when Jamal Adams left. He's great at breaking up passes. He can stop the run. He can do it. He can basically do everything. I mean, to have him at number 6, to have the Raiders have so many options at safety is a blessing, but I actually do think he's going to be a little bit more expensive than the next guy on my list. That's Marcus Williams at number 5 from the New Orleans Saints. 4 years of NFL experience, and he's only 24 years old. And for the Raiders, how often, and I mean, come on, y'all, did they get burnt on deep plays? I don't think that's going to happen as much with Marcus Williams because he's one of the best true free safeties in the National Football League. Las Vegas is all about rolling the dice, right? This is this type of player where if you go out and get him right now, sure, you're going to have to pay him a lot of money, but he could be the best safety 3 years from now. This could be the player that everyone's sitting there like, that's the next Justin Simmons. That's the next fill in the blank of great safeties. Because at 24 years old, he is so close to being there. And if you can roll the dice, which I'm willing to do, why not go out and get a guy like Marcus Williams? Now, the next thing that's going to be coming up here is at the wide receiver position. Because after this YouTube ad break, I'm going to tell you that there is only one wide receiver that I honestly want the Raiders to go out and try to get. And it's going to be coming up here. So should the Raiders sign a free agent wide receiver, type Y for yes, or I want you to type N for no. The only guy that I'm targeting, it's Allen Robinson, because offense is not the issue here for this team. You are a top 10 offense, so why do you need to make a lot of corrections? Can you get better? Of course. But the defense is the main concentration. However, if you're still wanting that number 1 wide receiver, and if it's a glaring need, go pay money to Allen Robinson. Go give him whatever he wants, $20 million a year, and instead of, I don't know, going out and paying Nelson Aguilar $10 million or another receiver cheaper, go invest heavily in a guy like Robinson. Solid relationship with Gus Bradley. Has already liked tweets about him joining the Las Vegas Raiders. And since this guy is coming into the league, which, by the way, Gus Bradley drafted him in Jacksonville, he's been phenomenal. Imagine putting up 100 catches, 1,250 yards with Nick Foles and Mitch Trubisky. No matter where this dude goes, he's been an elite number 1 receiver. Maybe, just maybe, if you give him a decent quarterback, not like Blake Bortles, he could even be a little bit better. Allen Robinson is the only wide receiver that I want the Raiders to legitimately target this year. Top 3, and this is where it's a little bit of a tear break for me, Anthony Harris, one of the best safeties over the past 3 seasons. I think one of the reasons why some teams get bit in the butt when you look at free agency is because they look at what they did in 2020. 1 year. Don't just look at 1 year. If you can get a bigger sample size, why not look at it? And Anthony Harris, over the last 3 years, has been one of the best safeties. You could even make the argument the best safety over those last 3 years. Coverage, by far, is his best skill. If you want to be able to take the top off a defense, Anthony Harris is going to be a guy that's going to be able to limit a lot of teams. And in cover 3, it is something that I'm telling you right now, Gus Bradley is going to want to be able to do. I understand that he didn't have any interceptions in 2020. I think it was honestly just a huge fluke of a season. He had 6 interceptions in 2019, 3 interceptions the year before that. Sure, he had a career high in tackles. I believe this is like 40 more tackles than he had the year before that. He can tackle. He can do it all. Anthony Harris, go out and get this guy. But I'll tell you what, the only guy that I want more than Anthony Harris is the guy at number 1. But before we get to number 1, I am going to talk about number 2, Leonard Williams, who this is the top defensive tackle in free agency. He can stop the run at just an elite level. He's got awesome pass rush skills. And when I really think about what's going to help the Gus Bradley defense, when I really listen to what Bradley has to say, this is actually the guy that I think is going to be number 1 on Gus Bradley's list because he wants defensive linemen. Because Leonard Williams can do it all. He played defensive tackle for the Giants. He played defensive end. And anytime you can get a player that has his run-stopping ability, plus coming off an 11.5 sack season, 16 tackles for loss. Guys, those numbers are redunculous. Grew up in the West Coast. He's never really come out and said that he's been a Raiders fan. However, he has made a lot of comments that have pointed out the fact of him being a Raiders fan. He's also pointed out the fact that he would love to play for the Raiders. Talent, fills a major need, and wants to be in silver and black. Bring on in Leonard Williams. This is actually the player that I think is the most likely the Raiders go out and get in free agency. So go ahead, like this video right now, because if you want the Raiders to go out and get Leonard Williams, seriously, like the video if you agree. Because when you look at need, when you look at what's really struggling on this team, it does start up front. Max Crosby, Cleveland Ferrell, they're great on the edges. But if you can't get interior pressure, that's where you're going to struggle. So go get a guy like Leonard Williams. At number 1 of my free agent targets, I've said it multiple times on my show, there's nobody that I want more than Justin Simmons. He's arguably the best safety in the National Football League, and he's been arguably the best safety in the National Football League for 3 straight years. 2 years of 90-plus tackles, 9 pass breakups, and 4 INTs. That's ridiculous. 3 straight years, over 1,000 snaps. He can cover, he can blitz, he can tackle. I don't really know what he does bad. When I watched the film, I didn't look for things that he did well because he does everything great. I looked for things that he couldn't do well. And I really couldn't find anything. I mean, we always talk about this great Broncos defense, right? Von Miller, the no-fly zone. Probably one of the most underappreciated players in football is Justin Simmons, because I get that they had elite talent at cornerback. But, I mean, Justin Simmons, to me, deserves just as much credit as so many of these other players. He knows the AFC West. He has done great against teams like the Chiefs. And Trayvon Mullen has been recruiting Justin Simmons. He's been saying, hey, man, come on over here. Justin Simmons has liked a few things. I'm telling you what, if we can give him the money, if all of our money goes to Justin Simmons and Leonard Williams, I'd actually be okay with it. Can you add a few more players? Sure. But Simmons, Williams fill the biggest needs, and they are the most talented players. That's why they are 1 and 2 on my list. Now, if y'all have made it this far in the video, I appreciate you. Go ahead, hit me up on Instagram. I'm at MitchellRens365. If you want to take a screenshot of my Raiders top free agent targets in 2021, please do so and tag me. I will repost it on my IG. But when I round out my list here, there's a lot of talented players, no doubt about it. And I'm going to be making more lists of top players to target at each position, I promise you. All I ask you to do, like the video, subscribe, that way you don't miss any of the videos that we pump out here at the Las Vegas Raiders Report. Those are my Raiders free agent targets in 2021 that I'm crossing my fingers for. Leonard Williams, Justin Simmons at 2 and 1.